Still learning about our future.
Going okay, Deb. I hope you can see me and hear me clearly without an echo. I think I asked you before, where are you from, Deb? And if you don't mind me asking, what are you doing at this time of the night? And if you don't mind me asking, what are you doing at this time of the night? And if you don't mind me asking, what are you doing at this time of the night? Echoing. Okay. Okay. How about now? Do you hear an echo? I'm echoing. Okay. How do we stop echoing? You hear me echoing, Deb, it's only because I'm still figuring out this new system. There's nobody here showing me this system, showing me how to operate it properly. So every day I wake up, it's like, huh? Oh, yeah, forgot that. Oh, shoot, got to do that. Oh, turn that down. But I'm glad you can hear me. Turn the volume down. Am I still echoing now? Can you hear me clearly without a residual effect? Good morning, Rick. Glad you can hear me clearly. Okay. So Rick, you're in Tonglore. Okay. Not that far from me. I'm at Anut. Okay. So you just got back from China. I'll be heading to China, Rick, probably after Labor Day in August. I got this, I've been chatting with someone in from WeChat and everything's in, written in Chinese. So It's not easy to basically like understand, like apartments and things like that, but we're figuring it out. You're in Texas, huh, Deb? The great state of Texas. I've always admired Texas, Deb. Always. Texas basically is one of those states where they just give their finger to other outside lawmakers, if you can understand what I mean, at telling the state of Texas how they're going to do things. That's what I like about Texas. Texas doesn't take no off of nobody. People come and say, well, the US government says, Texas, you're going to do this. And Texas takes its hat and goes, not today, partner. Now, if you don't like how we do things around here, you can have at it. That's why I like Texas. Okay. No, Rick, I'm glad you had a good time in Texas. I'm glad basically everything went well. Did you speak to them while you were there, Rick? So, for people, what are your plans? My plans for today, just stay at home, make 2 more videos, not too much more. Maybe do some exercising, go for a jog. I'm about to leave Thailand in a few days, so I'm trying not to do anything that may get me into trouble, cause me to have an accident, get into an argument. Just limit my exposure outside to anything that would stress me out. Thank you very much, Rick. That's what I enjoy doing. It's expressing things on his channel, telling people how things really are. And on my channel, I just simply address the hate, address all the haters, because it allows me to be able to express things freely. I'm able to tell people things that he may not be able to say or want to say. So if he's just interviewing me, it's not a big deal. I can say things. I mean, I'm not going to be disrespectful, but I could just simply be honest with people, truthful, and it won't impede his channel from growing. It'll just bring him viewers. But if somebody on his channel has something negative to say, well, I address it on my channel. Exactly. I reply on my channel. That's why my channel is titled Time to Address the Haters. Mhm. Okay, Deb, okay. Hi, this is Queen News Watch and Chat. I think this is the first time me seeing you. How are you doing, Queen? So, Deb, who are some of your favorite content creators? I have a few content creators I also like. I like Austin Holloman, watching his style of, content creation, but also how he iterates his thoughts. I like it. It's very succinct, it's very esoteric. He's very knowledgeable. You know, he's traveled just as much as I have, probably more. I've only been to about 27 or 28 countries. He's, I think, been to probably about 40 or 50 by now. Well, I posted a video. It's they're viewing it, Rick. I posted one, and basically that video should come out probably in a few hours. And it's going to basically talk about exactly what you're saying. And I also have someone who's also going to give, their examples of what happens here in Thailand. And the person that I have on there explaining this is a Thai American. He was born in Thailand, but he was raised in America. But he lives here now. And he's going to give basically a lot of, credibility to a lot of things that I say about people overselling Thailand, or how basically he criticizes Thailand and people look at him, and then when he shows them he's Thai, they're like, "Oh, wow. Oh, I'm sorry. Uh, I didn't know you were Thai." It doesn't matter if they don't know he's Thai. It makes it, he gives people, well, Thailand or other people, let's say that, or people creating YouTube, give this impression that if you criticize something, if you just say, I dislike something, you're wrong. You shouldn't criticize. You shouldn't say, I dislike this or I dislike that. And I'm wondering in my head, like, when did, we become so sensitive that we can't express our thoughts? When did society become so sensitive where if we express what we're thinking, it's rude? Okay. Well, Queen, I'm glad you've been watching me on Philly Dom's channel. I do have my own, so please please subscribe, like the channel if you like it, and you'll get more content. Okay. Okay, Deb. So you like food viewers. Okay. I can cook. I'm not a food viewer. Food reviewer. Okay. So you're like a foodie, Deb. You enjoy watching people cook, their style, how they prep, before they cook things, the dishes they cook, the flavors and seasonings. Okay. So do you go out, Deb, to a lot of restaurants and I guess critique, or taste their foods, and you can maybe guess the ingredients in the food? That's something that, I know someone, he's Cuban, he can do that really well. He can taste something and tell you all of the ingredients that were utilized in that dish, or or let's say the seasonings used to cook something. What made you decide to move and live in Thailand? Wow, Rick. There's a video out. It was basically a relationship that I had in the Philippines. Um, Relationship went south when I asked this young lady to get engaged, and she told me she was in a relationship. She said she had a boyfriend, and but she'd been living with me for 4 months. And when I spoke to my cousin who had been to the Philippines previously about what's going on, my cousin told me that I need to pack my stuff and I need to leave because most likely this young lady is not just in a relationship with a boyfriend. She probably has a husband. That's probably her husband. And she just told me that it was her boyfriend, not to like scare me. See, in the Philippines, when they get married, a Filipina, it's like for life. The husband will probably never, like, even if she walks away or whatever the case is, she can never really leave the relationship. So my cousin said I need to leave the Philippines now because if her boyfriend or husband finds out, he can have me arrested immediately. It doesn't matter that I didn't know that, I'm like, banging his wife. All I know is I'm going to jail and he can actually hold me hostage in jail until I pay him a ransom to let me out of that country. That's right, Rick. Divorce is not common in the Philippines. So my cousin said, hey, pack your stuff and leave. Thailand, I had already visited twice. So I packed up all my stuff, bought a ticket within like 10 hours. And basically, I flew to Thailand since it was like the closest place that I had visited prior to me living in Cebu City, Cebu. Yes, I did visit Vietnam. I did visit Cambodia. I visited Ho Chi Minh. And as for Cambodia, I visited PP, Phnom Penh. The airport, surprisingly, in Cambodia was like amazing. When we got off the plane, I'm like, wow, shoot, this place is, moderate, new, clean. I really didn't expect it, so that kind of blew me away. I've been to a lot of countries, Rick. Been to a bunch of different places. Um, And because I've been to so many different places, and when I'm watching YouTube videos and I'm seeing things that people are saying, like, I'll give you a perfect example. I've seen so many YouTubers here walk up to Thai women and start having conversations with them and then off ask them out for coffee, ask them out to lunch or dinner, and they just walk away and they just start having coffee. I've lived in Thailand for 2 years, Rick. They don't do that. Okay, hit the like, hit the like. Oh, hit the like. Okay, okay. Subscribe, hit the like. Okay. Uh, oh, thank you, Deborah. Thank you. I'm still new to this, so um, like Deborah said, if you like my content, if you like my information that I'm providing you, please hit the like, subscribe. Okay. Well, Rick, you've lived here for 3 to 5 years in Tonglor. I don't know your experience. I've never walked a mile in your shoes, so um, I give whatever you say, you know, full face value. I can't take away anything from your experience. I know my experience here has not been, it's not been the best. It's not been the worst, but it has not been the best. And that's one of my reasons why I've decided to leave, simply because I've discovered I have a New York state of mind. My New York state of mind may not, I guess, clash very, may not, yeah, may clash with certain nationalities, with certain people's thinking. As you can hear, like, I don't have a problem with your opinion. I don't have a problem with, what you say may be contrary to basically, my experience. Okay. So you came here to teach English. I would think that if you came here to teach English, Rick, and you would have met a lot of professionals. And while meeting professionals, you may have been able to build some relationships within those professional settings with, some of the locals. That's just my opinion. I definitely know I would have tried to build, some professional relationships that could have developed into other relationships. Plan on bouncing after my contract ends. Yeah, okay. Well, Rick, if you're bouncing here instead of staying here, obviously you've found greener pastures, or at least, you've weighed your options. You've looked at, okay, what's acceptable to you after this amount of time and what's unacceptable to you. And given what, you're just compared basically your experience here, maybe visited a few other places and said, I'd like to try here because it may appear better. You may feel like, hey, I've been here, I've done that. Let me try something different for a little while. Mm. And the chick that you were, in a serious relationship with, was she someone from another nationality, or was she a local? Was she Thai? That sounds interesting. Wow. She cheated on you. Wow. um, wow. Yeah, I'd love to know. Wow. Okay. She cheated on you, had more seniority. Huh. Well, as much as everyone wants to sit here and say, oh, the people are so friendly and the people are so nice, it appears that, yeah, they're nice, friendly, and also some can be very conniving, very deceitful. And that basically goes to show even professionals. Well, Rick, a lot of people don't want to talk about a lot of different things here. That's what I've discovered. People want to just pretend that nothing is going wrong, and they want to save face and simply smile and say, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing going on. My life is perfect. Nevertheless, they're eating something that maybe costs 50 baht for lunch, which is $1, 50 baht for dinner, and then they go home starving and, uh, acting like everything's okay. I don't eat, just 100 baht, worth, 50 baht worth of food. I gotta, buy something, cook it, maybe I may get a little hungry later on. I'm not a, person who snacks a lot, but I want to make sure I eat a sufficient amount of food and not, eat 50 or 20 baht worth of food and then go home and go starving until the next day. So, um, Thailand for me is just a little bit too pretentious. Um, I'm not accustomed to that. I'm accustomed to people being, honest, direct. Even if it hurts my feelings, I can accept it. It doesn't matter how honest you are. I can accept, honesty. And I prefer honesty, even no matter how much it hurts, because if I can accept that honesty, I can accept anybody's honesty. And it just goes to show a person's growth and maturity when they can hear a person's criticism. They know that the person who's criticizing them isn't criticizing them to belittle them and make them feel bad or look bad, but they're simply trying to give them criticism that will help them do better. Because if you knew better, you do better. Subscribers, hit the like button. Please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. So, Rick, after your contract ends, where have you considered? Yeah, where have you considered moving to? Me, I plan to go to China, just based on plan that I've been, contemplating, like during the tail end of me living here in Thailand. I've been, devising, okay, if I'm going to go to China, what are we going to do there? So we're still doing research, but at least we have a good idea where we want to live. Something called Guangzhou, Guangdong, something like that, in that area of China. I think it's called Guangdong or Guangzhou. Can everyone hear me loud and clear? No echoing. I don't know. Please tell me if there's something wrong with the sound. Echoing. Please tell me if there's something wrong with the sound. No, Deb. I've been traveling most of my life by myself. After I turned 18. Loud and clear, just a little feedback. Okay. Are you? No, I'm not a professional. I just had family that, had taken culinary arts. Both my mother and father, when I guess they were younger. And I used to watch, both of my parents cook, whether it been my father who cooked for me and his daughter, or my mother cooked for me. So it was always basically, I always had both parents cooking. So seeing my father cook, for me, and I just learned from him, and I learned from my mother, and they cook very well. Some people may say, "What? Father was cooking. Yeah, he's cooking for his children. So by me watching my father cook things for me and cook things for his daughter, um, I felt it was okay, something that I need to learn because my father used to tell me, son, you're not guaranteed to meet a good woman. You're not guaranteed to meet someone who will take care of you. You're not guaranteed to meet someone who can cook. So I took the advice of my father and came over and started watching what he was doing and learned how to cook for my father and my mother. Are you cook by profession? Deb, back to your question. I don't know if you've ever considered, traveling by yourself or living in another country, but it has its pros and it has its cons. In the event that basically you chose to travel by yourself, you can move faster because it's just you. You don't have to wait for anyone else. But if you want to go further, you know, maybe see more, you may want to consider, bringing somebody with you if, you prefer being with someone to explore new things with you as you travel. Do I know Dr. Sibby's cooking? No, Rick, I don't know this person's cooking very well. Yes, Deb, I agree. That's why, as long as I've been here in Thailand, I've never gotten sick because I buy, my stuff, I cook it in my house. There's a store here called Villa Market. They sell, specifically American products. So I primarily go there for like meats, some vegetables, not all, but mainly meats, some proteins like cheeses, alternative proteins, things like that. Because if I get sick and I'm in the hospital, they say, "What did you eat?" Well, I know where I purchased it from. So I know who I can point the finger at. Not saying that, if I get sick, I can sue someone, unlike in America, they do things differently out here. For example, let's say if you're in a taxi cab, I almost got pulled out of a taxi cab because I'm in a taxi cab, I'm a passenger, and the traffic police pull the taxi cab over and they ask me, "Can I see your passport?" And I'm looking at this guy like, "Who are you? You're traffic police. You're not immigration. Why you ask me for my ID for? I'm not driving. You're a traffic police." And so I was a little, like taken off by a traffic cop where I'm not driving. I'm a passenger and you're asking me for my ID. Later on, I find out this is something that's normal here. But look at the situation. I'm not driving, I'm a passenger. Why are you asking me for ID as if though I'm illegal? I didn't have my passport on me, but I have my New York State driver's license, and I showed that to them. And they said, "Okay, okay." But at first, I was defensive. I'm like, "Why is this traffic cop asking me for my ID? Who are you? You're not immigration. I'm not driving." He was famous black contentious leader. No, I'm not aware of Dr. Sibi's teaching. He was famous black conscious leader. Rest in peace. Okay. Hey, good morning, Saigon T. Glad to see you again. Too much anti-foreign sentiment. Well, yeah, there is a great deal of anti-foreign, sentiment here. Just most people don't know it because everyone keeps smiling. Everyone keeps pretending like, okay, okay, no problem. You pay. I'll keep smiling. I'll keep pretending what you're doing is acceptable, and people keep paying and looking at what other people are doing, and they're smiling and saying, okay, I'm going to keep doing it. While really there's contention, people are, there's contention on one side, and people are showing a disdained sentiment towards what both parties are seeing. One party's seeing, okay, I did something wrong, so just pay me. And the other side is saying, why do I got to do that for? What did I do wrong? Well, you pay me and don't worry, you did nothing wrong. My example was a few moments ago, cops pulled the taxi cab over. I didn't want to give them my ID. Do you find it ironic when foreigners are judgmental against where a Thai citizen originates from? No. I find it just ironic that a foreigner, which you'll see in my video that's going to be published soon, it should be out. It's right now just being, I guess, examined. How foreigners will criticize another foreigner for simply criticizing certain behavior that they may see in a foreign country. But if a Thai person says something and they criticize it, they're looked at it and they're saying, well, if you don't like it, go home. And when a Thai person says, I am home, they immediately become quiet. And that's what's going to be basically the content in my upcoming video, which should be coming out in a few hours. There's a young man there that I know. He's talking about how foreigners have criticized him for criticizing things that he sees in his own country. But when I criticize things, people say leave. I'm telling them I'm going. But when he criticizes things here and he says, well, what do you mean leave? I was born here. Silence, crickets. Because now they don't know how to respond to that. They don't know how to respond to a local criticizing things, and not lightly. They're criticizing things heavily. They're thoroughly criticizing things that they dislike. And people are looking at them like, why are you doing that? It's because he's Thai. He can do that. Anyone can do that. No one should be looked at as basically being a complainer simply because you encounter situations that you disagree with or you feel that, could be done better, or people, that you encounter, you feel like, there's a better way of thinking and doing things if you were open to change and or just willing to accept a little criticism and weren't so sensitive to, a little criticism. Wow. If you criticize things about Vietnam, your wife tells you to go to America. You sure you want me to come there? Huh? Because you could come to America and you could criticize things and I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say, okay, okay. You've observed things while you're there. Maybe in your opinion, you feel certain things are, unacceptable. I can't change your opinion, just like I can't change what that person did to make you feel like something was unacceptable. But for me to tell you, well, if you don't like it, go home, I feel that's not only rude, but that's me being closed-minded and not allowing you to express your thoughts towards something that you simply feel was unacceptable for you. you and only you. But that doesn't mean, oh, you should get on the, get back on the flight on a plane and go back home. I think, Asians have a certain sense of pride that if in the event that you don't like certain things, you shouldn't criticize certain things. You shouldn't say anything because it's their culture not to criticize, not to say anything, not to tell other people they're doing wrong or things uh, are not good or maybe things could be done better. Yeah, I'm not, saving face culture, I'm not saying that basically it's, wrong for them to do this because it's their culture. It's just my New York state of mind is going to clash with this saving face culture again and again and again and again because this is their culture to do something. And my culture is like, I did something wrong. I effed up. Let me take responsibility for what I did. Let me accept my punishment, whether it be criticism or whatever it is, and move on. You knew better, you do better. You don't sit there and go like this. Well, that's behavior that is a little immature, um, closed-minded, and it shows that that person doesn't have any depth of realizing other people are entitled to an opinion. How they express their opinion now is a totally different subject. I've expressed plenty of opinions, but I try not to be rude. I try not to be insensitive. But here in Southeast Asia, people will always consider me being insensitive or not being empathetic simply because I'm expressing the truth. I see something, I say, no, I don't like that. Just the other day, I got an invite from a young woman. She's a foreigner. I think she's American. Um, I was just watching her channel before I clicked to her live. But you can watch in TikTok, you can just watch. You don't have to interact. So when she said something about, oh, the food here is great, she only mentioned two items here out of the multiple foods that other that Thai people cook and eat. She only mentioned two. She mentioned something about, oh, I love pat kapow, and I think she mentioned papaya salad. She said she'd been living here for 2 years. And so I said to her, I tapped in and I said, so you've been here for 2 years and the only thing you only like is just an omelet with rice and a spicy salad. That's it. She said hi. She said hi to me and I said hi back. And she was like, yeah, you sound like you don't like it here. And I said, no, I really don't like it, much here. And she said, wow, that's rude just because I expressed my sentiment. I was like, no, I've had a lot of bad experiences, so no, I really don't like it here, and I'll be leaving. And she said that's rude because I said that, and I said, okay, so if a guy walks up to you, touches you, and you dislike it, and you tell him, please leave me alone. I don't like, the way you're touching me, or I don't like the way you're talking to me. Is that rude for you to say that? She immediately said, oh, I can see your controversy and blocked me. And I was like, thank you very much. So this is the type of individuals that I sometimes watch on TikTok or I watch on YouTube. and I just observe things they say. I'm observing basically things they do, and I'm saying, okay, you've been here for 2.5 years, and the only things that you like in Thai, in Thai cuisine is uh, an omelet with eggs, an omelet with rice, and a spicy salad called papaya salad. That's it. I look at it as like that can't be true. I don't really I only eat maybe like one dish here, and that's like some vegetables. It's called Morning Glory. I may buy that and I may, make my own rice and add it with that. And so that's the only thing that I really like here. I'm not a spicy person, spicy, food person, because how can you enjoy the food if it's literally incinerating your tongue? It's so hot that you basically can't even enjoy it. So when I see these videos, showing somebody going raw and they're like, oh, it's so spicy. I'm like, I've tasted, the spiciness, and I'm like, how do you enjoy that? When I cook, I add green peppers, red peppers, yellow peppers, fresh garlic, fresh onions. I add a little adobo, a little sazon to my food. When you taste my food, you're going to be like, I can taste the seasonings, not just go, yeah, spicy is awful. Yeah, I enjoy cooking because at least I know what I'm eating. At least I know what I'm tasting. There's a lot of restaurants I've discovered, and it's not just here in Thailand. It's also, in America. You go to a restaurant, you eat the food, it looks nice, but guess what? it's like anything. You're just eating something that looks pretty. I've gone to several different countries and tasted different foods, and you look at the menu and you choose something and you taste it. It's cooked, but it doesn't have a specific taste. I think like the only foods that I've really eaten from other countries, Jamaican food has a really good taste to it. Some Dominican food has a really good, traditional taste to it. Puerto Rico, they have food that has a traditional taste to it. In Greece, their foods, have a traditional taste to it. I'm not saying it was, great, but I'm not saying it was bad. And it's, these are dishes that I've eaten over there. For example, like the lamb that I've eaten in certain countries, or oxtails, rice and peas, or the jerk chicken. It was really tasty, very, very good. Might. Yes, love Jamaican food too. Big up, big up, big up, Dolomite. I actually can't wait to get back to America. I actually also like Guyanese food. Some of their dishes and some of the, Jamaican dishes taste very, very similar. I noticed you in Philly, Dom, got burgers a lot. If you saw me in Philly get, burgers, it's, most likely because it was the only thing, like if, McDonald's or Burger King, that I'm going to trust. Because if I get sick, I know where I purchased the food from. And I'm not really even a big Burger King or McDonald's person, but I know if I'm going to eat, a burger and I'm out in the street, I'll do that because I know where this food is coming from. If I get sick, I know where to go back to and say, "Hey, you poisoned me." Over spice I use to kill bacteria. Okay, tropical environment. Okay. Dolomite, where are you from? It's the first time I recognize you, on the channel. If you like my content, please send me a like and subscribe. Really? No, I didn't know this. I didn't know Bangkok had an IHOP. Oh my God. Where is this IHOP at? Because, I love pancakes. I had no idea that Bangkok had International House of Pancakes. Wow. I definitely, will go there probably tomorrow once I locate it just to try their pancakes. Okay, Siam Paragon Mall, G floor. Okay, got to take a quick screenshot. So, Rick, have you tasted, the IHOP in Siam Paragon Mall? Tell me, what was your favorite dish there, and did you taste the pancakes? Um, okay, so you also like the buttermilk pancakes. Now, was the syrup that they used in that IHOP the same syrup that you would taste in America? Well, Dolomite, I was in Pattaya when I first arrived for 10 days. And within 5 days of those 10 days that I was there, I knew Pattaya was not the type of place I wanted to live. So I quickly got online and started looking for places to live in Bangkok. And within that 10 days time, I found a place. I saw a realtor. I gave them a deposit and I was out like shout. Okay. Well, Rick, I'm going to say this. I bring my own syrup from America. I don't know if you've ever heard of a syrup called Miss Butterworth, but now that I know that it's not that good, I don't know if you're referring to the pancakes or the syrup. But if you're saying that the pancakes aren't that good, it could be because of the syrup. The syrup makes those pancakes, the buttermilk pancakes. And now I'm questioning maybe I should just wait till I get back to America to go to IHOP and eat there. No. But I'll try it out. What I'll do is I'll bring my own syrup and just make sure, and eat the pancakes, but I'll just, put my own syrup on there. Wow, let me see. Do I still have, syrup? I hope so. Yes. Oh my God, yes, we do. Okay. So, Rick, I'm from New York, but this syrup, Miss Butterworth, yes, is the only syrup that I eat. People tell me that I will probably get diabetes and die, and I say, well, every day I go to sleep and wake up, I'm dying anyway. But I usually carry this any country I go to because if they sell waffles like Eggo waffles, at least I can eat, Eggo waffles and, I have my own syrup and I can put it on there. But I'm from New York and I actually travel all the way to California just to get this syrup to bring it with me. So that should tell you the extent that I will go to to have some comfort foods in a place like Thailand where it may get a little stressful and I need to just have something to say, not some spicy food where it's just like, oh, oh, Roy. No, no, I don't play around, Rick. No. Yeah. I traveled all the way to California. Yes. Yes. All the way to LAX from New York just to make sure I have some syrup before I leave and go to another country. No, I'm not playing around. So if I go to IHOP probably tomorrow, I'm gonna bring this with me and they'll look at me like I'm crazy and I'll look at them like, no, I didn't hear anything good. No thanks. Try out the pancakes, put my own syrup on there. At least I'll say, well, they weren't too bad. At least I tried it out. Bring that to Vietnam, huh? Okay. Do you want to start a pancake restaurant? Um, I don't know if, see, first of all, before I would maybe consider starting a restaurant, I would have to basically see how locals respond to things. For example, I'm not sure if I showed you, I created like a makeup case here in Thailand with my 3D printer. And I was trying to pay people to help me advertise it, just like, young teenagers in high school or college. And they were just too busy to even like take it, put it on your bag, clip it on, and just have, make a video or just show, that they're using it and send it, send me the video. So if I couldn't, convince a teenager or a college student here, yeah, the Pokeball, that's right. I couldn't convince one of them to basically put it on their bag, make a 5-second little video, and maybe, just them using it. How would I know that they're going to like pancakes? Most foreigners that I have observed, especially here in Thailand, I've cooked. I'll buy one from you. Wow. Thank you very much, Saigon Tea. Okay. I'll definitely appreciate it. And I'll make sure I bring one for you when I come to Vietnam. But I've cooked for certain women here and certain people. So they enjoyed the food. And unfortunately, although they enjoyed it, they still prefer their own food. That's what they have shown me. You want to see the Pokeball Dolomite? Okay, just a second. These are the Pokeballs. One of them I specially made for a girl, this pink one. I'll show you what it looks like. I haven't glued the mechanism here that opens the Pokeball, but as you can see, move this here. You can see there is a mirror here, and right here, this is basically the lip balm. So basically, this is a little, makeup case that someone, like a teenager, they could attach to their box. I mean, a bag, like a Labubu, and it's a nice little accessory. This is the other one. It's the Pokeball, the original color. And you can see here, I created the sticker. It's a little Pokeball inside, and basically it has a mirror there. So it's an accessory that basically it's something that I was trying to, I guess, see if local ties basically would promote it for me and help me, build like a following. And I offered them money, and they were just too lazy to accept, like the responsibility. So they took the Pokeball, and I'm saying, okay, just make a video, you know, no problem. Yeah, I had a 3D printer, and I gave it to them. I said, hey, make a video, just 10 seconds, it attached to their bag, make a little video, 5 seconds, 3 seconds, and then basically they just had to take the Pokeball open it up, put some lip balm on, close it up, and that's it. 1,000 baht. 1,000 baht is the equivalent of $30 here, and they wouldn't do it. Okay, well, if you feel this is why I've been striking out because I'm creative, I'm different, I'm unique, it's their loss. It's their loss if basically they can't realize this dude is creative. He can make something that other people can't. He's creative enough to come up with an idea that, in my opinion, would be a cute accessory for a woman. You know, they spend so much money all the time anyway. So why not get some of that money? Hmm? Not messy. Women sit there and spend money frivolously. So why not create something that they may look at, say it's cute, and say, okay, I like that, and spend some money with me instead of somebody else. I'm striking out because I can think outside the box. I'm striking out because I can think, what would a woman buy in a store, and let me create it so that maybe instead of her spending her money with somebody else, she'll spend it with me. When I created this, it wasn't for me. It was for basically, for a woman to look at it and say, wow, it's pink. Women are pink, soft and pink. I like that. Let me buy that. Well, I may make a killing on Lazada, but the problem is, if I couldn't get people to promote the product for me, where I could at least create a buzz and have people just, wanting it and looking for it, how am I going to make, a killing on Lazada for a product that basically no one knows about? I still know how to make this, but I sold my 3D printer since I have a whole bunch of these. I think I have maybe like 10 left. Um, and maybe two. I think I sold maybe like four. I sold four of them. So I do know some people, maybe they just, they loved it. They wanted to patronize, help a brother out. But because I couldn't get the local people here to help me promote it, make videos utilizing it, I felt that basically my product wasn't making a lot of traction. So I stopped making them. Why am I going to keep making this? Because this isn't easy. First of all, if you may not know this, here in Thailand, you cannot buy certain products that you may need. For example, this paint is called Ferrari Red. You cannot find Ferrari Red um, in like any type of local DIY stores. You actually have to go and order it off Lazada or a Shopee. I don't have time to be waiting 3 or 4 days for just to get some paint to spray. I don't have time for that. And then for me to find like a gloss, they don't sell these things. Unlike in America, I can go to Home Depot, buy like, Ferrari Red, buy some gloss. Here, you got to order this offline, that offline. I don't have time for that. I want to be able to make, spray these things in the specific color, put a glossy finish on it, and be finished and have it ready. So you prototype MVP and planning to mass produce in China. I may, I've considered basically taking the prototype to China and see if basically, it can be mass produced. But there's I don't want to be sued, so it's just something I considered. Okay, it's getting traction. Hope so, maybe. You from Queens or Harlem? I was born in Harlem. The hospital is called Flower Fifth Avenue. If you look up that hospital, it was destroyed a long time ago, but I was raised in Queens, Hollis, Queens. What's up, King Kong? Okay, Philly Dom got you on my radar. I will subscribe. Thank you very much, King Kong. Truly appreciate the subscription. Okay, is Brooklyn in the house without a doubt? So you're home from the GOAT, the greatest of all time, the notorious B.I.G. Yes, that was one of my favorite rappers. Yes, Nas is from Queensbridge, and I'm not hating on him, but unfortunately, the notorious B.I.G. is the greatest rapper of all times, and you heard me say that. And although I don't really mess with Brooklyn because I'm from Queens, and if you know the song, Queens keeps on making it, Brooklyn keeps on taking it. So you can't rock with Biggie. You sure you from BK? Huh? Wow. Better not let them cats from Marcy Projects hear you say that. Or those cats from Do or Die Bed Stuy. You may get mollywopped. you know, people from BK, they don't play about Biggie. Okay. Notice that in New York and West Coast, okay, that speak on reality of Thailand and Asia in general. Okay, too many suspect rhymes. I don't know how old you are, uh, Knock Measy, but I don't know what you consider suspect. Home of the stick up kids. Exactly. Brooklyn is known for being home of the stick up kids. Shoot, cats from Brooklyn still come out to Long Island and steal stuff, off of the stoops and lawns or things from Amazon. It was all a dream. So I'm kind of like, a little confused that you're from Brooklyn and you don't give props to somebody who's known for being one of the late greats, the goats of rock. I'm not saying there were other people who paved the way for him, but just in my opinion, he is one of the greatest of all times. Some people like Nas, some people like Tupac. I'm a ride or die Biggie fan. And that says a lot from someone who's from Queens. That says a lot from someone who's from Queens. Okay, so you're 52 years old and you sort of see like Biggie Smalls lyrics as being sus. Okay? Big Daddy Kane, Brooklyn's best. Okay? Ain't no half stepping. He's a pioneer. I can't take anything away from, Big Daddy Kane. He is certainly a pioneer in the game and definitely probably influenced, cats like Biggie. Yeah, exactly. You know, Brooklyn celebrates, Biggie Small's birthday every day. You know, shout out to the GOAT and my condolences to, his mother, the late Valletta Wallace. Exactly. See, a lot of people don't know, they've listened to a lot of mumble rap and oh wow, Stethasonic. Wow, Stethasonic, that like brings back such memories because I actually bought their, yes, cassette tape. Yes, cassette tape. Chub Rock, Black Moon, okay, BK Better. You. But remember, all of these people that you're mentioning, Big Daddy Kane, Chub Rock, these were pioneers that Biggie was probably observing and looking at while he was coming up, while he was thinking about being a rapper. So you have to always remember all these names: Big Daddy Kane, Chub Rock, Stethasonic. These were pioneers in the rap game. Mob Deep is your favorite? Oh, no doubt. Mob Deep is definitely one of my favorites, but Biggie Smalls will always be my favorite. Now, I'm going to say next to Biggie, uh, in that era of rap, Mob Deep is definitely up there, but I forget the name of this group, but they have a song called Annie Up. Yes, rest in peace, Prodigy. If you've heard, of the song Annie Up, let me see, who's that by? I think that's by Mob Deep also. I'm not sure. No. Annie Up remix, Mob Deep. Okay. MOP. Okay, MOP. MOP is one of the, I want to say, hardest rap groups I've ever heard before, next to the Locks. Mash Out Posse. Thank you. Yes. Ever since I heard that, how about some hardcore? Here we like it raw. I think that was like in 1989 that came out. Either like 1989 or 1987, somewhere between 1997 and 1998. That's right. How about some hardcore? Here we like it raw. I think that came out in like 1997. Exactly. Fire. How about some hardcore? Here we like it raw. That's one of that was one of the best, hip hop songs back in 1997. I wish, groups like Mob Deep could come out here and perform and probably get the love, that all of these other rappers like Drake would be able to get. But unfortunately, Thai people don't really rock with, groups like Mob Deep. They wouldn't really rock with, such groups like MOP because for them, it's a genre of music that they're not really accustomed to. Okay. The Hip Hop Gym. What's going on, Hip Hop Gym? Nas is the GOAT. He is one of the greatest. And you're from Brooklyn. I'm from Queens. And I think Biggie Smalls was, the greatest. But then again, I'm not going to argue with you because they were both great. Nah, Rick, they definitely don't make, music like they used to. Certainly don't. For example, a lot of cats on here don't know about a song called if you don't you see what is the name of this song? If you don't keep your hands high, ain't no right or wrong in this game called survival, cause it's Trey and B.I.G scheming on your cream, why try? Keep your hands high. It was a song done by Tracy Lee and Biggie Smalls. It's called Keep Your Hands High. That was one of the best, I want to say. It wasn't a diss track, but it was one of the best collaborations, I say, next to Method Man and Redman. Now, we've all heard basically Redman and Method Man say, their song, their collaboration. Uh, I would say Tracy Lee and Biggie Smalls are definitely, a collaboration that mirrors or mirrors basically their style and that intensity. Yes, thank you very much, Deborah, for reminding me. If you like this content, you like the conversation, please subscribe, please hit the like button. Thank you very much, Deb. I keep forgetting. I'm getting lost in the conversation. Yes, definitely Rakim. Oh my God, Rakim. I want to say if you had to compare someone to Rakim, hmm, DMX. I would definitely say DMX and Rakim were certainly rappers in the game that had such similarity in styles. And I want to say also in thoughts of like creating lyrics. Well, I didn't know I had so many New York cats up in here. Shout out to NYC. Shout out to Texas. Shout out to Vietnam. Is anyone else in here from, New York or from somewhere in America? Rick, if I don't know if I asked you where you're from, you told me that you're living right now in Vietnam, but I don't know exactly where you're from. If you don't know, now okay. Was first to expose YouTube's okay, yeah, yeah. If you don't know, now you know. Okay, was first to expose YouTube travel influence fakeness many years ago. Okay. Well, Rick, you know, positive publicity is just as good as negative publicity, Rick. But I actually want to tell you about an influencer. He wasn't on YouTube, but eventually he got to YouTube. So if you will Google the name Star Troy, he basically was a radio personality in New York for a radio station called Hot 97. So if you look at Star, look up Star on Google, he basically was a very controversial radio personality. He had a show called Star and Buck Wild Show. If you look it up on Google, it should come up. And if you listen to his content, if people think I'm controversial, if you listen to some of his controversy, you would say, yes, yes, right. Troy Terrain. Yep. I'm nothing compared to Troy Terrain, aka Star. Nothing. He's like the rock of the WWE. Okay. I give, shout outs to, Troy Terrain because he's going to keep it rough, rugged, and raw. It's unfiltered, real. And if you can't handle it, beat it, chump. I really do miss his content. I wish he would have continued making content, but he said a few comments about, a few people, and he got kicked off of Hot 97 a few times for his content, for his perspective. Speaking of exposure, what happened to Peso Man? Peso Man, Hip Hop Jim, who are you referring to? I've never heard of this person, Peso Man. He's on YouTube. Who's on YouTube? I've never heard of these individuals. Oh, Star shows on YouTube is oh wow, really? Okay. I didn't know if Star was still on, YouTube with his controversy, type of topics and the way he basically talks. I would have thought he would definitely have been banned from anybody's, um, social media platforms. So I'm going to definitely look Star up on YouTube. As again, if people think I'm controversy, I'm rude, I'm reckless, they need to look at Star. They need to hear, Troy Terrain's content, and they will realize, giving a shout out and a plug to, I guess someone who I also look up to. People cannot complain. He broke the Babata story. Thank you very much. I remember that story. Wow, it's getting cold in here. I need to cut the air conditioner off. Hold on for a second. Okay, I'm back. Had to go get some socks. It's kind of cold in here. I'm gonna do my Mr. Rogers impression. Put my socks on, saying, "Won't you be my neighbor?" The audio stream current by is low than the recommended. Okay. Open widgets. Stream health. Hmm. No thanks. Knock Mizzy. Knock Mizzy, may I ask you a question? Um, are you in New York right now? Okay. You live in Europe. Is Brooklyn in the house? Yes. Even Brooklyn's in Europe. In the Netherlands. Okay. Shout out to the Netherlands. What made you go out to the Netherlands? Relocate from there? Are you in the military and you went out there, saw something, magically delicious and just said, looked up and down and said, I'll take her and stayed? Or was it just lifestyle that you sort of could relate to and just simply decided to stay there? Or are you there for work? Okay. Peso was YouTuber basically talk shit about travel YouTubers and passport bros. Met my wife on Flatbush and never moved and then moved there. Okay. Nah, that's why I brought it up. I remember you predicted this years ago. It's crazy seeing it happen. Okay. Hip Hop Jim, talking shit about people. I'm simply just pointing out and indicating the overselling hype and all the fluff that they're putting on these experiences that they're having. I'm going to do a reaction video to someone right now, maybe later on today. They're walking around and they're saying, oh, this is great in Thailand. This is great in Thailand. That's great in Thailand. But they've only been to Pattaya. How do you sit and you've been in Pattaya for 6 whole months? You've never ever visited Bangkok. You've never been there, but you're saying all of these things about Thailand. And I'm saying this is not true. How do you sit and say, oh, this is great, this is great? They're saying, oh, the people are so nice and so friendly. And basically, I know that this person being in Pattaya, most likely a lot of the people who do massages, little massage parlors, they're waving and everyone's being so friendly and nice. They're waving because they want customers. They want clientele to come in. So of course they're going to be, friendly and smile and say hi and, greet you. But is that the sentiment of, most people if you had to walk up to them and try to speak to them? No, that's not. If I speak Thai, not perfectly, but at least now 20 to 25%. And if I walk up to a pretty Thai woman and I try to speak to her in her language, she will get nervous. She will freeze because here it is. I'm 6 feet tall, 190 pounds, dreadlocks, big guy walking up to her, speaking to her in Thai, and she's confused because I don't know her. She doesn't know me. She's nervous because in her mind, I'm African, not American. And she's scared out of her mind because, some Thai people can't distinguish between Americans and Africans. And she thinks maybe I'm trying to rob her. This is the mentality here. So when I hear people talk about, oh, the people are so friendly, listen, they have to trust you to really be friendly. But most of the times, you're just getting a professional friendly, a professional courtesy. Many people here are not friendly, not sincerely anyway. I mean, if you walk into, a 7-Eleven, they say Sawadi Ka Shin Ka. That's like welcome. Thank you. You've been in Pattaya, so you understand that, in that area, they go out of their way for customer attention. So they're going to smile and wave and try to pull you in. But if you're saying, if you've only been in Pattaya, you've never visited other areas in Thailand, and you're just simply saying, oh, Thailand's great, Thailand's great, Thailand's great. Well, you're giving your viewers a false perception. You're misleading people because the average black guy, young black guy, or even older black guy, if he comes out here to Bangkok and he starts trying to just walk up to people on a cold approach and tries to make friends, they're going to look at him like, yo, who are you? I don't know you. And even if they do understand him and he says, hey, can I get your Instagram? Hey, can I get your line? They will give you their line or Instagram or even WhatsApp number, and you'll never hear from them again. That's the culture. I should know. My first year, talking to women here, I got a lot of Instagram, a lot of WhatsApps, a lot of, contact information. would talk to these chicks or make attempts to anyway. They would read the first message and I'd never hear back from them again. Yes, I mispronounced a lot of stuff, but if you don't continue to try, how will you get better? You know, um, I speak Spanish, I speak Portuguese, and I speak Italian, and I was mispronouncing things or rolling R's. Portuguese and Spanish are very close to each other, but I had to keep on pronouncing things until I got it, correct. So is Italian. Italian and Portuguese are very similar languages, but I continued to practice, continued to pronounce things, and I got better, and now I can speak it fluently. Well, I don't try to speak Thai anymore. I don't make an effort to try to make Thai friends. I I just came to the conclusion that it's better that I just simply try to communicate with other foreigners, or as TLC said, don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. And since I stopped trying to make friends here in Thailand with local Thai people, my stress levels have gone down. Once I stopped trying to interact, and I guess what some people would say, oh, you're trying to force friendships by talking to people. I came to the conclusion they were right. I'm forcing it because I'm trying to actually just talk and be friendly. And they're not accustomed to people being friendly. Not to mention, as I said, I'm 6 feet tall, 190 pounds, and I'm like a giant to them. I'm a giant to these people. Even, I don't think I'm that big. I got a cousin, he's 7 feet tall, uh, and he's like a giant to me. And his brother is 6'9" or 6'10", and he's a giant to me. So if I'm looking at my cousins as their giants, and people are looking at me as I'm a giant, I can only imagine what they consider when they see basically these two giants towering over me. Organic, everyday interaction. Well, Knock, I've tried to make organic interaction here with people in like the local 7-Eleven. Two or three of them know who I am after, going in there for 2 years, just saying hello. I want to say an older lady. She's very friendly, very accommodating. When she sees me, she's like, very hi, how are you doing? She'll actually speak to me. But the other young ladies, they won't speak to me. Like one day, she asked me to buy something. I guess she liked it, and I bought it for her. And then she was like, "Oh, well, what about them?" I said, "Well, they don't like me. You're the only person here who talks to me. So why am I buying something for them?" And they kind of look at me like I'm weird. But I've actually made an effort to like help them. I came in the store one day and I saw one very, very, very petite Thai woman struggling with this big thing of water, and I grabbed it for her and I took it to the back and I helped her with the water. She still works there. She doesn't make an effort to say hi to me after I made an effort to show her some hospitality, or at least show her that I'm a gentleman, and see a woman struggling, moving some heavy containers of water into the storeroom. I helped her, and she still doesn't even say hello to me or speak. She just treats me like I'm a regular customer. I present my stuff, I pay for it, and that's it. But this older woman, she says hi to me all the time. I come in there. So, of course, if she speaks to me all the time, if she spoke to you all the time, who would you buy something for? The person who doesn't speak to you, or the person who does speak to you? Yeah, I agree, Knock. Organic interaction daily is one of the key things to making friends here. But what I've seen here in Thailand, in Bangkok, I can't say about Pattaya. Maybe in Pattaya, people are a little more open minded to brothers but not really here in Bangkok. People here are just professional. You come in, you spend your money, people give you a smile, and that's it. You be on your way. Next, thank you, have a good day. You're not gonna basically get, a lot of strong, friendly interaction with people in Bangkok that show you that they're interested in making friends with you. Sincere friendship. No, you won't get that. I'm not saying I haven't built a camaraderie with my landlord, but I pay her. There's a mini mart downstairs. Um, the lady and her niece, they operate the mini mart. They're very friendly to me. I definitely want to say that they're friends, but remember, they have a business. I'm coming in there and I'm buying something. I do feel I do have a friend in FedEx. If I had to if I had to call and say, "Hey, I got a problem. My package is somewhere lost," he will get on the phone and make sure my package is routed directly to me. And I've actually tried to compensate him by buying him a gift, some food, or offering to take him and his friends out, his colleagues out for like some drinks. And he was like, "No, just saying thank you." So I've tried to make friends with professionals here, really, really good professionals, but that's a circle that's not really easy to break into here in Thailand. Okay. Many people here would rather save face and not try to speak for fear of misunderstanding. That mentality, knock, is a very close minded mentality because many people mistake me, dreads. People think I smoke weed. Isn't that a misunderstanding? Just because you are black, you have dreadlocks. Isn't that a false presumption or misunderstanding to think that all people who are my color or have dreadlocks think that they smoke weed? Okay, Saigon T, at a buffet at a water park. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have fun. Actually, not. Uh, People may look at me and say, "Hey, this is what I think you like or do, like rock music." Now that hip hop is dead, most people, if I'm not listening to like Biggie Smalls or certain people, from the '90s, I'm listening to rock music. I don't really listen to any of this new hip hop, this mumble rap. I can't relate to it. So most of the times, if I got my headphones on, I'm listening to rock music. And when I tell people that, should I fear that there's going to be a misunderstanding? That maybe people think, "Oh, you're an Oreo. You're black on the outside and white on the inside." Oh, if I consider this and I think, "Oh, if I tell people I like rock music, there'll be a misunderstanding," then I don't have confidence in myself. I've listened to a lot of the, music, and it just doesn't have the cadence that, I prefer. Spanish Harlem, what's good? The music today has no substance. Thank you very much. Listen, Spanish Harlem. I don't know where you're from, but yo puedo hablar español muy bien. Y yo creo que tienes razón. La música hoy es muy malo. Most of the rappers today is just they don't they're not I'm not saying music doesn't have to evolve. It's just that they're expressing how they think, how they see the world, and I can't knock them for that. It is who, you know, oh, the accent is diabolical. Oh, it gets better, trust me. And my Portuguese is also diabolical. When people see me, they don't know I speak all these languages. When I speak Italian, they look at me like, oh my God. I want you all to look up a lyricist, a young lyricist. His name is Little D. He's on Facebook right now. He is the only rapper. I think he may be like between like 18 or 19 years right now. He is the only rapper that I say in this day and age sounds close to like Big Pun, Biggie Smalls, Nas. He's the only one I want to say, I think he's from Coney Island, who's actually bringing back rap. And I think there's another rapper, I think his name is something Beans. There's maybe like two dudes who are actually bringing back rap as it used to be, and I think there's another rapper. Her name is Christina Valentine. She's on the show Wildin' Out. So those are like only just three of the many individuals that I've seen that are actually bringing back like the style of rap from the '90s. Okay, so you speak five languages fluently. Okay, knock. I'm glad you're fluent, so you know you can walk around, you know, in certain cultures and certain, you know, countries, pretend you know, don't understand nothing all along listening. I've done that in the Dominican Republic. People would speak, people would say things, and I'd be like, "Huh? What'd you say? I don't understand." All along, I'm hearing, you know, people from DR sit there and says, "Este choco loco quiere salir conmigo." Ha ha ha. Born and raised in Spanish Harlem. Okay, on the east side, went to Lehman College in the BX. Used to live on 1199 by the FDR. Okay, I know exactly where you're at. FDR Drive. Definitely Spanish Harlem. English, Spanish, Thai. Wow. Papiamentu and Dutch. What is Papiamentu? I've never heard of this. It's Choco Loco. No H in Chocoloco. No, I would just, maybe you heard me incorrectly. I don't know if this, I said Este Choco Loco. I've heard women in the Dominican Republic say Este Choco Loco quiere salir conmigo. Oh, Coco Loco. Okay, maybe I missaid it. Coco Loco. Okay. Well, when I heard it, it was probably, you know, I thought I heard Choco Loco, but Poco Loco. You're correct. You're absolutely correct. Right, right. No, no, you're correct. Not Choco Loco, Coco Loco. Right. That's the way basically saying you're a nigger. Yes, 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 you're right. 1199. Damon Dash resides there also. No loco in it. Chocolo. Chocolo. See, Coco Low. Okay. No loco in it. It means black. Well, I took Poco, which I thought I heard Choco, as crazy black person. Poco Loco. That's what I heard. So that's why, you know, I'm reiterating basically what I heard someone say. Maybe I'm mispronouncing, or maybe I misheard what they said. I thought they said Poco Loco, meaning saying crazy. I'm sure you understand what I mean. But I'm glad to see a lot, you know, of New Yorkers tuning into my channel, Spanish Harlem. Are you in Harlem, Spanish Harlem? Are you still in Harlem? And maybe planning on traveling abroad, or is Spanish Harlem basically going to be your stomping grounds until the day you die? I was born in Manhattan. The hospital I was born in was called Flower Fifth Avenue Hospital. It's closed now. And I was raised in Queens, in Hollis, Queens. I know about Spanish Harlem because I actually lived in I think this was 140, no, it was a little higher than that. I lived in Washington Heights, not too far from the west. What is this? I think Columbia Presbyterian Hospital. I know there's a little park right off of the West Side Highway where I lived at. I just can't remember the street right now, but I think it was like I think 152nd or 153rd Street when I lived in Manhattan. I know it was definitely not too far from 145th Street, and I know I was definitely close to Presbyterian Hospital and a little park. Which, if you go to the little park, you could cross the street and you could see, the West Side Highway. I had a really good view of New Jersey. You live in Florida, okay? Transferred my job. Oh, to Pembroke Pines, Florida, with AT&T. Wow. It's funny you Pembroke Pines. I lived I want to say in 1990, no, 2004. I lived on Hallandale Beach Boulevard, close to the what is that? I guess A1A. So if you know where Hallandale Beach Boulevard and there's a little bridge, you cross that bridge. I lived in the condo that was right across, from that bridge on Hallandale Beach Boulevard. I could cross over, and there was like a Burger King there. That's east of Miramar. Okay, that's east of Miramar. Oh, okay, okay, Miramar. Okay, you're talking about Florida. Okay, yes. Yeah, my age is definitely showing. 'Cause I gotta really like look carefully at what people are saying. I don't want to get glasses. I'm gonna rock it out till my eyesight falls off. I lived in Hallandale Beach after moving off of South Beach. I actually lived on South Beach between Ninth and 10th on Collins Avenue, between Ninth and 10th Avenue for 1 year. And I moved off that and I moved to Hallandale Beach Boulevard and I stayed there for 1 year. Rick, to answer your question honestly, it really depends on whether or not you have a high tolerance for a lot of ignorance, a lot of stupidity, a lot of unacceptable behavior, a lot of unacceptable mentality. For example, um, I lived in the Dominican Republic. Um, People would ride in the opposite direction of a road that has it's a two-way street. So if you were going east, people would go west on the same side of the street instead of being on the other side of the street. Here in Bangkok, I've seen people ride their scooters on the sidewalk instead of ride their scooters in the street. I find that to be unacceptable because they won't honk their horn. You don't know that they're behind you. And I turn my back, and it's like, yo, there's a scooter coming behind me at maybe 5 or 6 miles an hour. So in Thailand, this is acceptable here. I think that it's unacceptable to ride your scooter on the sidewalk where people walk. But if I complain, or when I turn very quickly and I see somebody, I look at them like, yo, what are you doing? Yo, why don't you honk your horn? I'll move out your way. But they don't think this is, a problem here. So with so many of the things that I've encountered, I believe that Thailand is a nice place to visit. It's something new to explore and discover. But to retire here for some people, I definitely don't think that it is a great place to retire for everyone, especially young people who, like, I retired at 38 years old. So I'm still young. I'm still productive. I would never live in Pattaya. I definitely think that, that place is not for people like me. Um, I'm what's considered a sapiosexual. I'm attracted to intelligence and intelligent conversation, intellectual conversation. So if you come here and you're like me, you may eventually, discover that bank Thailand isn't for you. Now you may explore the places, you may like it. There are places like Hua Hin. The pace of life is a little slower, but guess what? You can live there comfortably, probably with maybe $1,000 a month. But are you going to make a lot of friends with the locals? You may not. If you were looking to basically make friends with locals, is that if you live in expat enclaves? If you live in expat enclaves, Rick, you could probably, be comfortable there, but you won't really learn a lot about the locals from the locals, but you will learn maybe a lot about the locals from expats, and they may still be learning about the locals. They may not have all of the answers. Been here in, okay, Jacksonville since 9/11/2000. Okay, I've been to Jacksonville, 2 times. I watched, the Jacksonville Jaguars play. So I have visited, North Florida. I love visiting Kissimmee. Exactly where from, exactly where from that generation. If your conversation is raggy, I'm out. Is raggedy? Okay, exactly where you from generation. If your conversation is raggy, I'm out. Spanish Harlem, I don't understand this last um question, or is this a statement? How you were saying you talking to the head. Okay, okay, thank you. Spanish Harlem. If you, I'm glad you like, my content. Please subscribe. Please like the channel. And you can always, share this content with other people, other like-minded individuals like yourself. Um, what time is it up there in Florida right now? Yes. I believe in making my conversation have substance. And if a person's conversation doesn't have substance, you're not going to keep my attention. And here in Thailand, most of the Thai community that I have encountered here in Bangkok, there are some intellectuals here or people who have, an education, but they may not be willing to, talk to you because you're not, Thai. So finding, people here in Thailand. Okay, so it's 12:40. That's good to know. That means I got to almost get on with my day and allow you all to, get ready to go to bed. But Rick, I need, intelligent conversation. Yeah, it's great to see a beautiful woman, but if that beautiful woman can't stimulate me mentally and just have a decent conversation, they don't have to be a genius, Albert Einstein, but just be able to share thoughts and feelings with me so I can understand her personality. And if she's from a different culture, understand her personality and her culture through her explanations, then how can I have a interaction with her? If you're just dealing with people because of their physical paralysis, that you're going to lose that attraction very soon after a few romps in the bed. Okay, I'm glad we're from that generation, Spanish Harlem. You know, conversation means a lot. You can build on decent conversation from each other. Okay, if I can't have a decent conversation with you, how do I get intrigued by your personality? If I can't have a decent conversation, with you, how do I even know anything about you? How you, if I say something that may be slightly offensive and you tell me you dislike it, or how do I know if you won't, at least have the intelligence or the articulation to be able to tell me I disagree with you, not saying oh, I hate you because you said this. No, just say I disagree with you. Now I know, okay. Or you're not saying I'm rude, you're just saying, oh, I disagree with you. I've subscribed last week by way of Philly Dom. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Spanish Harlem, for subscribing. Maria, Maria. Yeah, well, she is living the life, because when you're born and raised in a place like New York and then you move to other spots, like, and you upgrade your life because New York is a very doggy dog place, but if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. So by her, being born and raised there and then moving to another spot, what you get from New York and you take to another, place, especially like Florida, where the pace of life is a little slower, you see things that other people don't see far faster than the locals do. And it gives you the ability to be able to capitalize on seeing things around you. So she's definitely, because Harlem, being raised there and being Spanish, she's living in Florida. A lot of people speak Spanish there. So I don't know what you look like, Spanish Harlem, but if you could pass for a regular, I guess morena, and don't speak Spanish, no one would know, and you could always hear everything basically going on around you without anyone knowing you understand. Okay, I'm going to answer this question. How come you didn't see that 24-year-old girl running game on you? This young woman that I met in the Philippines was also a sapiosexual. She enjoyed my camaraderie. She enjoyed my intelligent conversation. We had things in common. I went to school, Pace University. I have a degree, BA, bachelor's degree in banking law and financing. I also have a master's degree in consumer advocacy law. She has a BA in in finance, specifically in accounting. So immediately our conversation about things in banking, law, and financing hit it off really quickly. As our friendship developed and it got better, she never showed me that she was doing extracurricular activities with other men. That was just within the first month that I met her. It was she would from work, home. So when she moved in with me, I saw the same pattern. She wasn't going out with anyone else. She would get off work and she would come back to my condo. She wasn't on the phone with anyone except her two female colleagues. So if she's on the phone with me in the afternoon at 11:30 saying, "Hey, what are you doing?" "I'm at home." "Hey, I want to come by and see you." Now she just left. She just left. She spent the night with me, and she texts me and says, "Hey, I want to come back. Can you cook something for me?" That's code for I want to have sex with you, make some food, and I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to spend an hour with you. If a woman is showing you that she can't wait to see you when she has lunch, she can't wait to get off, finish work, and see you. Do you sit and believe someone's running game on you when this woman is showing you morning, noon, and night? I love being around you. No, I don't want your money. Yo, just cook some food. I love your cooking. I love your personality. Now, after 4 months, you're seeing this person, you're living with them, they're living in your condo. They don't ask you for money. They don't ask you basically, they have problems with their parents. They don't want to borrow none from you. They just enjoy your conversation. They enjoy being around you. Do you see them running game on you until you present them with an engagement ring and say, "Hey, you know what? You already said that you see us having a future together. So maybe I'll give you this ring, and maybe in 16 months, because we were together for 4 months, so maybe another 16 months or another, 20 months, we can get married." And she tells you, "I got to tell you the truth. I'm in a relationship. I got a boyfriend." How do you see her running game on you? Tell me that. How do you see a woman running game on you if a woman was 24 years old, she's living with you, she gets off of work, yo, she's coming right to your crib. She texts you on the phone during lunch and she's like, "Yo, I want to spend time with you." Yo, how do you see she's running game and you see it? They say other countries, Americans are gullible. It's because we're kind. Yes, Americans, especially black men, we are kind. Yo, people born and raised in America who are definitely, who've been treated like a minority, who's been treated basically with a certain level of discrimination. We don't want to treat people the same way we've been treated. Okay, everything she did was part of the game. I want to say something to you, Linwood. I was born and raised in Hollis, Queens, in what's considered a upper middle class neighborhood. Being honest, have a lot of book smarts, a lot of education. But am I street smarts? No. Am I ashamed to admit that? No. There are some people who ran the streets, had friends from the streets, learned the streets. That wasn't me. And guess what? I'm not ashamed to sit there and admit that. Did I have friends from the streets? Yes. Did I hang out with some of them? Yes. But guess what? When it was getting dark, it's time to go do my homework. I was at home. I never looked down on my friends from the streets because they chose to hang out in the streets. Yes, I know LL Cool J. I actually know the dude who stole his radio. I've seen LL Cool J on Farmers Boulevard several times. I've seen him in Cambria Heights several times. There was a park called 34 Park on Hollis Avenue and Springfield Boulevard. I've seen him come to that park and do like little performance or just hang out there. Yes, I'm very familiar with LL Cool J. Queensbridge Projects. No, Queensbridge Projects is basically a lot closer to Manhattan. There's a bridge called Queensbridge, which separates Queens from Manhattan, and Queensbridge Projects is that bridge. He played in Fame. Okay, he played what? Queensbridge Projects isn't close to Manhattan. So if Queensbridge Projects isn't close to Manhattan, what's the closest thing? If you go to Queensbridge Projects and you look up, that's the 59th Street Bridge. You look up, that's the 59th Street Bridge. Doesn't the 59th Street Bridge take you right over into Manhattan? Anyone who knows Manhattan and Queens knows there's only a few ways in. There's the tunnel, the Holland Tunnel. No, not the Holland Tunnel. The 34th Street Tunnel. The Queens Bridge. Yes, Queens Bridge. It takes you in. There's another bridge that's like in the back from the Bronx that can bring you in. I think it's. Let me see. It brings you like right into like maybe brings you onto the east side. And no, excuse me, my mistaken. From Harlem, there's a bridge that takes you into the Bronx. I used to live in Cambria Heights. Okay, 217. Okay. Well, you used to live in Cambria Heights. I actually had an aunt that lived on Murdoch Avenue and 210th Street. So if you lived in Cambria Heights, then you know where Murdoch Avenue is. Yes, the Willis Avenue Bridge. That's correct. Yes, the Q3A yes, the Q3A was the bus that came, all the way up in Cambria Heights. Um, QB is across the water from Midtown. Exactly. Oh, shoot. Cell phone is about to die. Okay. See if this cell phone about to die. Okay. I'm still good with power. So, so not you live, you used to live in Cambria Heights. I had an aunt that lived in Cambria Heights on Murdoch Avenue and 210th Street. And if you lived in Cambria Heights, then you knew on Murdoch Avenue, you would be in Cambria Heights. But if you crossed the street, you would be where? Where would you be if you crossed the street on Murdoch Avenue? That's Queens Village. Most people don't know that. If you cross the street on Murdoch Avenue, you would literally be in You'd be on Cambria Heights on one side, and you'd basically be in Queens Village on the other. I took the Army test at Queensbridge Road. Wow. Okay. Oh, so you've been in the military. Salute to you. If you don't mind me asking, how long did you stay in the military? And also, what did you do in the military? I got scared and went to college. Okay. I don't knock, your decision. A lot of people get scared at the last minute. Listen, the army kept coming to my house and kept trying to convince my parents. hey, his SAT scores are great. He'll do great in the Air Force. And my uncle, who'd been in the military, said he's a little bit too recalcitrant to be in the military, meaning I'm a little bit too defiant. I'm going to question people. I'm not just going to do what people tell me to do because they gave me a direct order. Okay, Hamburger Hill. Blown up on Hamburger Hill. So yeah, brother, a family who went in the military. Oh, my condolences to your brother. I'm sorry to, for your loss. In the event you ever decide to come to Vietnam, please go to the museum. There is a war museum. It's not that big, but it shows a lot of relics in Vietnam about the Vietnam War. I've been there. It's in Ho Chi Minh City. It has a lot of old relics like planes and tanks, like a lot of shell casings and things like that. It's a really nice museum. I do recommend if you do choose to visit Vietnam, to go just visit. It's a very nostalgic place. I've been there myself. I was a little girl, sad other brother went to the Navy. Well, the Navy is actually not a bad branch of the military to go into. Okay, yeah, I agree, Saigon T. You know, the Vietnam War was one of the worst battles of all times. So I guess you sort of saw one in the Army, one in the Navy, and you decided to go to the Army. And because of this unfortunate, event in life, you decided to go to college. Okay, brother was killed. My brother that was killed was a Marine. Wow. Yeah, Marines basically they're the front line. They are the spear. Yes, Marines are the spear of the military. They are the front line. And so when things break out, the Marines are the first ones in. The Army basically is the strategic branch of the military, as along with the Air Force and the Navy. It's almost 12 o'clock, and I have to get ready to go. You know, I haven't eaten breakfast over here. It is 11:59 in the afternoon. Don't know Marines are referred to as Navy. Didn't know Marines are related to Navy yet. But yeah, the day is I got to get going. I haven't even eaten breakfast over here, but I definitely want to thank everyone for coming on my live channel. I definitely enjoyed your conversation. I'll probably come on, on Friday. And everyone who's in America, please know I'm 12 hours ahead of you. So I'll definitely try to come on in the nighttime over here, where it will be the daytime over there, if it's more convenient for you. But now it's time to say goodbye to all my Negro friends. I thank you, everyone. Please like my channel, subscribe. If you like my content, share it with others. But I have to basically get ready to go, get some breakfast in me, enjoy my day. And I definitely want to say thank you to all for sharing, your time, sharing your experiences with me. Love, peace, and hair grease, and I'm out.